Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me right here in Solomon's Temple. My name is Solomon Izang Ashams. So good to be with you. Thank you for coming back to back and checking out what's in the news, what are we talking about. It's always good to be able to do that. Thank you. I hope you're doing very well. Please make sure you use the comment section. Post a comment, say something about this topic or any other topic that we can engage in. And also make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel that is Solomon's Temple. Please click subscription and then also click on notification just so you can get notified anytime we come in live. So I want to quickly talk about an incident regarding South African gospel artist called Thinah Zungu. He's originally from KZN, KwaZulu-Natal, part of South Africa. Some people will call it Durban, but it's not really Durban, depending on where you're from. And he's a very popular artist. He's won quite a lot of awards. He sings traditional gospel music in isiZulu, which is it has quite a very big audience. So he gets invited to different events and all that, quite popular. He's been around on top for the last, 8-10 years. Now, we've seen quite a lot of gospel artists trying to become pastors. Some of them have tried and failed. Some of them have tried and failed and stopped. Some of them tried, failed, and still continued. Some of them tried, and a few of them got some sort of balance between it. And the question is, why do some gospel musicians feel they have to go into gospel? So they have to do, to lead a church, to become pastors? Is it because that is just some sort of a franchise or some sort of another branch of their ministry? Or is it another business for them? Or is it to keep them relevant and to keep them out there? Or is it a way they just felt, look, just in case my music don't go well, I have something to fall back to? Or is it a case of, well, quite a lot of people follow me, so I'm just going to start a church. I know they're going to come. Or are they really called by God? Or is it something they saw another gospel musician do and then they want to do it too? It happens. I've worked with a lot of gospel artists. I know these things. And with Thinah Zungu, we actually have to look at it from the beginning. What does he have to offer? Right? So anyway, for those of you guys who don't know Thinah Zungu, let me show you. This is him in the church that he felt, in the church that he said he had started. Where is that video? Just give me a moment. I want you to have an idea who we're talking about, because there's quite a lot of people here that don't know him because you're from a totally different, part of Africa. And those that are here, some of you guys know him very well. So this is him here in a so-called a church that he's saying he just started with his wife. This is him singing. So that's the church. It's called the Act Fellowship Church. That's the church that him and his wife just put on. Now, you have to understand where Thinah Zungu is coming from. Why I feel that somebody like him should never be tolerated as a pastor. This is him also, at the church, which is Act Fellowship Church. Now, he has had some sort of associations with certain dodgy people that are very close friends with him. One of those people is like a traditional doctor, like a native doctor. He's called Dr. Kekle Zeli. Dr. Kekle Zeli. He is a traditional doctor. Now, there are different sort of traditional doctors. There are traditional doctors that use just natural herbs and leaves and plants and roots to help people. And God has blessed us with this. So they use that to help people get healing or get some sort of comfort from whatever they're going through. And then there are the traditional doctors that are into all sort of witchcraft and do this and demonic stuff and evil stuff and put it in there. Now, this Dr. Klezeli is one of them. He goes around the country and puts together events. And then he uses gospel artists. So he goes to this big venue and uses gospel artists to bring people, because gospel music in South Africa, we know everybody loves it. Whether you are a serious Christian or not a serious Christian, gospel music is where we can all agree on, because people find comfort, inspiration, and encouragement from it. So he goes around the country. This one happens in Orlando, in Soweto, in South Africa. And then there is another one here. This one happened in East London. Is it East London? Yeah, I think it's East London in the Eastern Cape. Durban, actually. If you look at the photos of the gospel artists that he brings together, Thinah Zungu is always there. Now, this Dr. K. Klezeli, when he brings them, he has his products. He has water and oil and candles and all that kind of stuff that he sells. So he has his products that he sells to them also. And then he also does one-on-one. You pay to have a one-on-one session with him. So he's a very smart guy. He claims to be a bishop or whatever, but far from it. It's just so that he can use that to deceive people. Look at it. Thinah Zungu is always there. You see? His name is always the first on the list. Now, why would somebody like that want to be a pastor, lead a church? What does that tell you about someone like that? What is he bringing to the table? What is he bringing to the pulpit? What would he bring? He's going to bring the same sort of traditional practices that his friend uses, and he saw his friend is becoming very lucrative for him, obviously. He's going to bring the same kind of traditional beliefs and practices that are not biblical. There are a lot of our traditional beliefs and practices that are biblical. The Bible does not say no to them. But there are those that are not biblical. And he's going to bring that. And what is he going to preach to people? When he opens his mouth, what do you think he's going to say? How would he say it? And then people, because they know him as a musician, and he's talented, by the way, they would follow him. They would agree with him. What would he teach people? He's going to become another traditional native doctor somewhere. Nyanga, as they call it. So I'm tired of seeing pastors, I'm tired of seeing gospel musicians thinking they can start a church. KK tried to start it, and it never came to nothing. You see, starting a church means you are a shepherd. Leading people means you are a shepherd. You're devoted. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So you must not do it because you're doing it. All we would see somebody like that, like this, who like him, who's leading the church, he will become a sangoma. He's not a pastor. He will become a sangoma. He will be practicing and doing stuff like sangomas, just like his friend here who invites him all over the country. It's a disaster. It's going to be a disaster as a pastor. It's a shame that people would Some people would make it another business venture. Some people would see it as another side gig, side hustle. You're doing side hustle with the lives of people. You're using people's lives as a side gig. God forbid. Don't just jump to any church because the pastor is a gospel artist. Then you think, you really have to ask yourself, why is this person a pastor? Ask God to give you a spirit of discernment, whether they're gospel artists or not gospel artists. Ask God to give you a spirit of discernment. If you want to belong to a community of believers, to a congregation. But we must not encourage this gospel artist, who a lot of them are living immoral, compromised lives, and also consulting sangomas and ancestors. And then you want to run a church? Do you really want to call that a church? And you call it the Act Fellowship Church? That's what they call it, isn't it? It's there. The Act Fellowship Church. Far from it. Far be it, people. We must not encourage that at all. Priest says we must stay away from such people. They're using their influence to run the church. They're hungry. Exactly. Nowadays, even Sangomas and Nyangas are opening churches. Dr. K. Klezeli is also a part. Sangomas, Nyangas. People, when you hear it's a church, it doesn't mean that God resides there. Topsy says next time he will be a prophet. What is he really doing? He taught to be a pastor. It's a pap and flex. Exactly. They want the whole franchise. They're tired of these pastors and prophets eating alone. That's a good way to look at it also. It's yeah. We must think about that. We must speak out about it, right? And we must make sure that we also discourage that. Thank you so much for joining me. Please make sure you subscribe. God bless you.